Hello, friends, and welcome to this week's Soul Service, where we look at Neptune in Aries over the next 14 years. So, this particular video I was supposed to do live on Sunday evening. That would have been Sunday, the 31st of March, but technology challenges, Mercury retrograde issues, other kinds of stuff got in the way, and I was not able to come here. So what I thought is I wasn't going to take a chance and do another live. I thought I would pre-record this to make sure that everything goes smoothly, because this is an important message that I need to get out. So we're not going to go into any kind of other details. Let's get straight into talking about Neptune entering into the sign of Aries and what this means, what it's done previously, how is it going to impact us going forward. Let's just have the discussion. Okay, so I'm going to start off and breaking it down, because I understand not everybody is into the astrology, not everybody understands all the intricacies of astrology. So I want to break it down into small bite-sized pieces that you can understand, and also understand the impact it's going to have on you and what you can, should, and should not do about it. So let's start off talking about Neptune. Who and what is Neptune? So Neptune is the eighth planet from the sun. Okay, Neptune is associated with imagination, it's associated with our spirituality, it's associated with our intuition, and it's also associated with the dissolution of boundaries. Okay, so we also know that Neptune is named after the Roman god of the sea, as we all know. And Neptune's energies typically mirror the vast, mysterious, fluid qualities of water, guiding us into realms of inspiration, mysticism, and also transcendence. Such a big word, that, but such an important one. Neptune asks us to embrace the intangible. In other words, to trust our intuition and to dare to dream, to sort of make things, make fantasies come to life. Neptune also challenges us to dissolve any limiting beliefs and illusions that we may carry, while it also inspires us to connect with universal truths. Neptune's influence can feel like you are navigating the uncharted waters. Sometimes those waters can be quite murky, but it always offers profound insights as well as profound growth. By working with Neptune's energies, we can learn to balance inspiration and our grounding. So we've got our inspiration up here and our grounding over here, our compassion with our clarity, our imagination with reality. So it sort of brings this kind of duality balance into our lives. So Neptune is one of the slowest moving planets, which means it takes a very long time to go all the way around the orbit of the sun. So Neptune typically sits in a sign for 14, 15 years. So at the moment, and when I say at the moment, it is like at the time I record this video moment. So at this moment, Neptune is moving out of Pisces and moving into Aries. I'm going to go into the dates and the specifics in a second. But I want to first talk about, before we talk about what Neptune's about to do, I want to talk about what Neptune has already done. So Neptune first entered into the sign of Pisces back in 2011, and it stayed in Pisces right up until now, 2025, early 2025. And basically, this emphasized themes of spirituality, compassion, creativity, as well as collective consciousness. Okay, collective consciousness is the key thing here that I want you to hold on to. So this period from 2011 now to 2025, this fostered a deep connection to spiritual, emotional, and the intangible. The intangible are things we cannot touch, things we cannot hold, things that they have no substance to them, physical substance, all right? So this period of Neptune in Pisces developed a deep connection to the spiritual, emotional, and the intangible aspects of life. So things that sort of came out during this last 14 years, okay? Neptune in Pisces, there was this huge kind of growth of mindfulness, yoga practices, meditation, even astrology just really came to life during this last 14 years. The rise of spiritual but not specifically religious movements all came about during Neptune in Pisces, which makes sense. If you understand what Neptune is and you understand what Pisces does, I mean, it's a no-brainer that that's what it would have done. And if you think about your life and the interactions that you've had and the things that you've done and the conversations you've had with people, I'm sure you'll see how this is making sense. The other thing that happened during the last 14 years was the explosion of immersive experiences, such as virtual reality. 14 years ago, we didn't have it, or it was just beginning, but it really took flight. It really took off during this period. And also the blending of technology with art. I mean, digital art wasn't a thing. It wasn't really a thing, but now everybody's doing it. We also had a huge movement for inclusivity and awareness, such as the LGBTQ rights, mental health advocacy, refugee support. I mean, these things were massive over the last 14 years, and that is Neptune in Pisces that brought all of this to light, that triggered all of this, okay? We also had this whole thing about exposing mistrust in governments, corporations, and traditional structures. We also had the prevalence of fake news, conspiracy theories, and mass deception. But everybody was talking, everybody was bringing to light, everybody was saying the things that needed to be said. And this is all thanks to Neptune in Pisces. We also had quite a thing of heightened focus on addressing trauma, addressing emotional healing. We also had a rise in escapism through substance abuse, through social media abuse, through virtual worlds. You know, everybody's sort of, hiding behind a virtual reality, not necessarily a virtual reality headset, but, those scrolling through social media. We lose hours. There are memes all over social media about how much time we lose mindfully scrolling through social media, reading these memes about mindfully scrolling through social media. And all of this is Neptune in Pisces. Okay, I want to talk about some notable events and trends that took place. So I've sort of given you a kind of a broad idea of Neptune and Pisces, but now I want to give you like kind of some specifics of what transpired. So the first thing I want to talk about is the global spread of smartphones and social media platforms. Think back 14 years, think back to prior to 2011. Social media, it was there, but it wasn't as big as it is today. It wasn't smartphones. In those days, we all had the bricks. So the spread of smartphones. I mean, again, in 2011, how many people had smartphones? Not everybody. Today, people have got 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So yeah, what this has done, the spread of smartphones, the social media platforms, it's basically created this, it's made the world smaller. It's created this interconnectedness of the world, but it's also created these illusions of what is actually perfect. So it's been a positive and it's been a negative. Something else that we have to mention, something else that has to come up, is what happened in 2020. COVID-19, the pandemic. Okay, this absolutely profoundly shaped humanity's understanding of interconnectedness. Also, the understanding of humanity's vulnerabilities. Okay, it also brought about themes of isolation, themes of loss, and the need for collective healing, which also was all absolutely Neptune's Pisces energy that was coming through. Didn't think about it, but now that you know, it all makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, so Neptune and Pisces also increased awareness of climate change and the need for compassion towards the planet. So there were lots of movements that were all about, healing the planet and climate change and all of that. And all of that stuff really took off during this last 14-year period. We also had exposures of I can never say the word, systemic, there we go, corruption, such as the Panama Papers in 2016, the hashtag Me Too movement in 2017. We had the struggle between truth and illusion in the political arena. We still have it, including misinformation or, campaigns that have been mismanaged and misinformation given. All of that came to light, happened during Neptune in Pisces. And then also we had amazing figures, people such as, just to name one, Eckhart Tolle as an example. He gained prominence during this period for promoting mindfulness and spiritual awakening. Everybody was starting to ask questions. Everybody was starting to seek answers, guidance. So greater openness to discussions about consciousness. Psychedelics came into light as well. And altered states for healing and growth, not just the traditional medicinal routes. Suddenly there were all these other options that became more prevalent during Neptune in Pisces. Okay, so as we can see that over the last 14 or so years, it has been a period of removing boundaries, heightening spirituality, and definitely increasing compassion. It brought attention to collective unity, but it also heightened the need for escapism, deception, and the disconnection from reality. So that is Neptune in Pisces over the last 14 years. Mind blowing when you think about it. Now, from 2025 now, from the end of March, right at the end of March 2025, all the way through to 2039, we are going to have Neptune in the sign of Aries. Things change radically, friends, which is why this message is so important to get out to all of us. So, as we now move into Aries, the energy is shifting into action and individual. We were about the collective in Pisces, now we become about the individual. Okay, Neptune in Aries is going to focus on taking the dreams and the ideals that we had in Pisces, and it's going to be focusing on manifesting them boldly and bravely and courageously, and also with a lot of determination. Okay, determination becomes the big thing here. This is going to be a time for us to pioneer new approaches to spirituality, to pioneer new approaches to our own identities, and to pioneer new approaches to leadership, which is so desperately needed in this world of ours at the moment. So let me break down the timelines of what we're looking at here. So Neptune, as I have already said, is the planet of dreams. It's the planet of spirituality. It's the planet of intuition, and it's the planet of illusion. Okay, so it's all of these intuition, spirituality, but also illusions. And it is entering fiery and action orientated Aries. So it's going to bring a dynamic contrast. So late evening, early morning, March 30th, March 31st is when Pisces, Neptune makes its first step into Aries. And it's going to stay there for a brief period, because October, 22nd of October this year, 2025, it is going to retrograde. Retrograde means that it looks like the planet is going backwards. So it's going to retrograde back into Pisces for a short bit, only until January 2026. So October, end of October, so November, December, January, for 3 months, it's going to be retrograde back into Pisces for a little bit, just to sort of give us the chance to breathe, catch our breaths, and then boom, full blown back into Aries from the 26th of January 2026, and it's going to stay there until March the 9th, 2039, where it moves into the next sign, which is Taurus. So we're now going to be looking at the next 14 years from March 31st all the way through to March the 9th, 2039. Okay, so we need to breathe. I need to breathe. Oh my gosh. Right. So this is what it means for everybody. Now, what I do want to explain to you here very quickly is, because this energy of Neptune, because Neptune is such a slow moving planet, it has less of an effect on us individually and more of an effect on the collective, because like when you are born, everybody has Neptune somewhere in their birth chart, but it's a generational thing. So because like for the next 14 years, anybody who is born is going to have Neptune in Aries. So it's not so much an individual energy as it is a collective energy. So everybody born during the next 14 years are all going to have Neptune and Aries. Therefore, they're all going to have those traits inside of themselves, and where or how that trait manifests depends on where it lands in their birth chart. Okay, whereas if we look at our faster moving planets like the moon, like the sun, like Mercury, etc., they move a little bit quicker, which means that there's less chance of a group of people having the same thing. So we do talk about Neptune as being a collective energy as opposed to an individual energy. So what can we, and I mean, if you think about all the things that I've just described, like let's talk about the pandemic as an example. Yes, it affected us all individually, but it was a collective thing that we all experienced. But our experiences might have been slightly different, but the collective was definitely there. Okay, so collective energy of Neptune in Aries. The first thing we're going to look at is people are going to be called to take bold steps in exploring their own intuition, to exploring their own faith and to exploring their own higher purpose. It's going to be a time for pioneering new ways of thinking about spirituality and self-expression. So you can expect big movements to come through out of nowhere, where people are just going to suddenly come up with a concept which is going to make a lot of sense, and it's going to be exciting and passionate and all of these kind of things, and a lot of people will get on board. And it could be something quite different from what we've experienced in the past. We also have a situation where there's going to be a heightened drive to pursue ideals with courage, whether these are personal goals, whether this is activism type stuff, or just social change. This enthusiasm could sometimes border on impulsiveness, because that's the Aries trait, or even unrealistic expectations. So we need to make sure that our idealism that meets action is actually warranted, and that we're not doing things incorrectly, which could be a bit of a challenge. With Aries also being a sign of leadership, and Neptune's encouraging visionary thinking, we're going to have new leaders spiritually, new leaders politically, and also on a creative front. Okay, so we're going to have all of these new people stepping forward to run or to drive or to navigate collective energies with innovative ideas and inspiration, and it's going to be quite revolutionary. So the way that our leaders have been behaving in the past is going to change. Is going to change in a big way. And we need this change. We really and truly do. We absolutely need this change. So, as I've explained to you already, that Neptune moving into Aries affects the collective. It affects the consciousness of everybody. It doesn't affect just you or just me or just your neighbor. It affects everybody. But it can have effects on certain aspects or certain people. And I want to just go through this, where I'm sort of going to give each zodiac sign. So it's not the normal horoscopes that I do each week. I'm just going to talk about each of the zodiac signs and what kind of impact you can expect over the next 14 years. So it's not just for the next week, it's the next 14 years. So we talk about Aries first, because obviously Neptune is moving into Aries. So this is anybody who has Aries as a sun, moon, or rising sign, okay? So if you've got an Aries sun, I'm talking to you. If you've got Aries rising, I'm talking to you. If you've got an Aries moon, I'm talking to you. So understand that Neptune is going to activate your self-identity and your sense of purpose. So you're going to feel inspired to explore new spiritual paths or new creative endeavors. It is important, Aries, that you stay grounded to avoid becoming overly idealistic or scattered. So you're going to find yourself either really doing incredibly well in these pursuits over the next 14 years, or you're just going to be all over the place and not actually achieving anything. So if you want to make sure that you're not all over the place and not actually achieving anything, you need to stay focused. Okay, stay focused, act and explore new spiritual paths in creative ways, but stay grounded through it all, Aries. Very, very important. And I want to talk to Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So you guys are the other cardinal signs, okay? Aries is a cardinal sign. Cardinal means initiator, beginner, activator, all right? So now we're talking to the other cardinal signs. So Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. For you guys, you can expect huge shifts in your relationships, in your career, and your personal goals, because this time is going to challenge you to align your actions with your dreams, while all the while avoiding conflicts between what is practical and what is ideal. So you're going to see big shifts happening for you guys, career, relationship, and your personal goals, trying to find that balance between this ideal fantasy and reality. All right. I'm now looking at Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio, and Aquarius. So you guys fall into the category of fixed signs. As the word fixed means immovable, okay? Fixed means standing strong, standing firm, standing confident, and that's exactly what Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius are all about. And you're going to find Neptune moving into Aquarius is going to feel like a call to break out of your stagnation. So it's going to give you the courage and the confidence to step outside of your familiar comfort zone. So you need to allow the visionary energy of Neptune to inspire fresh starts while also remaining grounded in your values, okay? So you don't ever want to compromise your values. That is for Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And now let's talk to Gemini, to Virgo, to Sagittarius, and to Pisces, who are our mutable signs. So mutable means that they can flow and they can adapt and they can blend, and you've got the cardinal, which are the go-getters, the initiators, the fire starters. You've got the fixed who say, right, well, I'm standing my ground and I'm just going to be here and I'm not moving. And then you've got the mutable who can be this, can be that, they can flow and they can adapt quite nicely. And that is the Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So for you guys, you need to prepare for an adventurous shift in your mindset as well as your life path, because you're flowing, you're moving, you're adjusting, you're adapting. So you need to be open to any new ideas and experiences, but at the same time, you need to watch out for scattered energy or unrealistic goals. Okay. So for everybody, please understand that this particular transit is going to signal a time of bold spiritual renewal for everybody, as well as creative exploration. So everybody is going to feel inspired to pioneer new paths. Everybody is going to be inspired to just look at themselves in a collective, like what is the role that I play in the collective, and how can I be more brave, how can I be more assertive, how can I do better. Those are basically the things that everybody is going to be asking. So we'll each react differently, we'll each respond differently, but the collective energy is going to be quite interesting. So what I'm doing now, okay, is I have come up with quite a detailed tarot reading that I want to do with you now. So again, this tarot reading is not for an individual, it's for all of us. It's for collective energy. So I'm going to take us through this tarot reading. It is a detailed tarot reading, so there's going to be a lot that's going to come through. And again, my hopes is that it helps us all to understand this Neptune energy, this change, the shift, and just helps us to get excited almost about what we can look forward to and what we need to be mindful of and what we need to be cautious of. So let me swap the camera around. There we go. Camera is swapped around, and here I have a tarot deck on the table with me. Now, this particular tarot deck, as you can see, it is called Tarot Everywhere. Now, Tarot Everywhere is a photography deck, which means that every tarot card has a photo of what it represents and what it stands for and what it means. So I thought I would use this one, first of all, because it's a small deck and I'm putting a lot of cards on the table. So I needed a deck that was quite small. So that was the first reason why I chose it. I chose it for the photography aspect because I want it to be relatable, okay? Because we're talking about all of us human beings, us people who are living on planet Earth at the moment and who are going to be here for the next 14 years. So I needed this to be relevant and significant for all of us. So we're talking about Neptune in Aries from a collective point of view. What does it mean? What does it represent? How do we navigate this? And as I said to you, I've created a tarot spread that is really, really deep. So I'm shuffling the cards. I'm going to lay the cards face down, and then I'm going to go through the cards one by one, where I'm going to put the question up here, and oopsie, we're going to see what comes through. Okay, so let's just set the intentions that this be a collective reading. Collective means everybody who is watching, whether they're watching the day I release this, whether they're watching any time over the next 14 years, okay? So at any time that you find this video, any time that you watch this video, this reading is going to be relevant to you in your life somehow or somewhere. That is the intention that I'm setting from this deck, using all the prompts that I have created to give us guidance, clarity, insight, and understanding. Okay, so I'm going to put all the cards that I need face down, and then I will show the question and turn the cards over one by one as we go through it. So this way, I'm just getting all the card stuff out of the way. Okay, I did do a test to see that it fits. Because as I said, I am putting a lot of cards down. And this way you can see I don't see what the cards are. I don't know what they are. There we go. Look at me. It all fits perfectly. So I'm putting the deck of cards aside, right? So I don't have to do that. Now I'm just going to turn the cards over as we go through. Okay, so question one. This is card one for question one. What is the vision or dream that humanity is being called to pursue? What is the vision or dream that humanity is being called to pursue? And we have the Five of Cups. Now, let's look at this artwork, okay? So here we have this gorgeous lady. She is clearly in a beautiful I want to call it a night dress, but that's not the right word. An evening gown, right? An evening gown. So she's obviously had a night on the town. She got so dressed up. She put a lot of effort into everything that I mean, her hair is good. You can see her makeup is good. She's got a necklace. I don't know if that's necklace or earrings. She's got a beautiful dress on. But now she's come home and she's either collapsed on the bed or on the floor. Not quite sure what it is. And Five of Cups is the card of disappointment. Five of Cups is the card of, I expected more. I expected more. I wanted more. I hoped for more. And it's the card of like, oh, you know what? I had such high hopes for this evening. I had such high hopes for how this would have played out or how this would have transpired. And I was left hanging. I was left disappointment. So what is the vision or dream that humanity has been called to pursue? It's our dreams. It's our ideals, okay? Because her ideal was an evening on this level, but what she got was an evening on this level. So the vision or the dream that you and I, that humanity, that collective consciousness is being called to pursue during Neptune and Aries is this whole thing about what do we actually want? What truly matters? Where are our levels of expectation? And let's adjust accordingly so that we don't, because I don't know about you, but like I have to say if I look at the last 14 years, yes, there have been successes. Yes, there have been awesome, amazing, wonderful experiences, but there's also been a lot of disappointment. There's been a lot of failure, a lot of disappointment, a lot of hardship, a lot of challenge and struggle and all of those kind of things. And this is what Neptune and Aries is doing. Neptune and Aries is telling us, let's shift the dynamic. Let's change. Let's readjust our ideals and our expectations so that we're not setting ourselves up for failure over and over and over again. Okay. Does that make sense to you? It makes sense to me. Question 2, how can we as a collective take bold steps towards manifesting this, right? To manifesting our not being constantly disappointed. Oopsie, wrong one. So let's have a look. How can we as a collective take bold steps towards manifesting this? And there we have the Four of Wands. Now, Four of Wands. Well, first of all, we have this couple. They're out in the water, okay? But they're on swings. But instead of swinging and having a good time, what are they doing? They're embracing. They're taking the moment that presents themselves or presents itself. They're taking that moment to share the love, to share the connection, to share the appreciation for each other. Four of Wands is what I call the commitment card. Okay, so how can we as a collective take bold steps towards manifesting our realistic ideals of what matters most? Well, first of all, we have to embrace the connection, the feeling, the longevity. We need to be honest around what makes us happy and what doesn't make us happy, because that's what I'm getting here. Sadness and disappointment, happiness and truth, okay? So we need to embrace the truth of what makes us happy, the truth of what we want, the truth of what our ideals are. And we need to be brave enough and confident enough to go out into the water, to swing because we want to swing, and then when the moment strikes, to share that connection, to share that love, to share that emotion. Water represents emotion, and that's what it is. It's being brave and courageous enough to express ourselves. So how can we as a collective take bold steps towards manifesting this? By being braver, by standing together, by being more collective, working together more, and also by not being afraid to change the rules. Because the rules of a swing is to swing backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. The rules of a swing is to sit on the swing as you're swinging backwards and forwards. They've chosen to stand and they've chosen not to swing. They've chosen to embrace. So it's not about being silly and reckless and crazy, or maybe it is, but it is just also about just acknowledging the truth of who you are and the truth of what we want, so that we don't suffer constant, continuous disappointment as we have done over the last while. All right. Part 3. What illusions or deceptions must be exposed and released in order for us to move forward authentically? That's a big question. What illusions or deceptions must be exposed and released in order for us to move forward authentically? Let's have a look at the card that we have. We have the Knight of Cups. Now, we see a gentleman, right? It certainly looks like he's a gentleman. He's got a suit on, he's got a masculine watch, and he's holding flowers. Now, we ask ourselves, when does a person do this? When does this happen? This happens when we are showing affection showing love. So he's either making a proposal or he's asking forgiveness for something, but he is showing emotion. He is doing something physically to show and express the way that he is feeling in order for the relationship, the situation to move forward. So if he's bringing these as an offering because of guilt. So let's say he's been a naughty boy and now he's trying to make up for it by bringing flowers. He's hoping that this act is going to change the situation going forward. If this is a proposal of marriage, again, he's hoping that this situation is going to change the relationship going forward. So to me, the key here of the Knight of Cups, what illusions and or deceptions must be exposed and released in order to move forward authentically? This is about moving forward. This is the card of progress, but it's the card of the action that leads to the forward movement, okay? And what illusions or deceptions? So again, let's go back to this disappointment card, because I think as a collective humanity, when we are let down, like she was, right? When we are let down, we blame it on the pandemic. We blame it on whatever, right? I don't want to go into pointing fingers at anything, anyone, or any situation, but we do. We find an excuse, we find a reason, and then we go, oh, well, nothing we can do about it because of insert situation here. And this is the illusions or deceptions that need to be exposed and released. In other words, if you bring me flowers, it's not enough. I need to be brave enough, confident enough, bold enough to say that just bringing flowers doesn't make it okay. Just doing that one thing doesn't take away the bad work or behavior or activity or whatever that took place. We need to hold people accountable, truly, actually accountable. And they can't come and cover up with a bunch of flowers. So the illusions or the deceptions is the flowers. The flowers are to make up for the bad behavior. So now the focus becomes the flowers, but that's not right. Because how do we move forward authentically, as we're saying here, if everybody's looking at the flowers and nobody's actually talking about what happened to make them bring the flowers, okay, if it was bad behavior? And also, why do we need flowers to show love and affection? Why not just use words? So this is, to me, the illusions and the deceptions that need to be exposed and released in order for us as a collective. So we have to face some hard truths. We have to eradicate this constant disappointment that we all feel. We have to change the rules in order for us to progress and to move forward in the way that we want to and in the way that we need to. So to me, that is huge. And again, this is a collective. This is not country specific. This is not culture specific. This is everybody, right? This is everybody as a whole, okay, as a collective energy. Right, let's have a look at card 4, question 4. So how can our new leaders emerge in order to guide the world with vision and integrity? We've already said how Neptune and Aries is going to bring all these new leaders, spiritual, political, creative, all of it. We're going to have all of these new leaders that are going to come to light. They're going to come to the party. So how can these new leaders emerge in order to guide the world with vision and integrity? And I think those two words, vision and integrity, are so important, because we've had leaders that haven't had vision and integrity, and it didn't get us anywhere. Now we're saying we want to eliminate the constant disappointment, these constant kind of issues, and then blaming somebody else. We want our new leaders to absolutely have the correct vision and integrity. So let's have a look and see, how can our new leaders emerge in order to guide the world with vision and integrity? And we have the King of Pentacles. Now look at this. I mean, this is just phenomenal. So we look at this awesome guy. He's not wearing the big fancy business suit and the big fancy watch. He is a simple guy with simple expectations, with simple morals, simple integrity. Where's my finger? Simple integrity, okay? He is not pretending. He is not putting on this big fancy show of flowers and whatever else. He is just, this is who I am and this is what I do. Take it or leave it. And King of Pentacles is the card that we talk about control of our stuff, our material possessions. This man doesn't have a big fancy house and a big fancy car and a big fancy whatever. Why? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have, over the last many, many, many years, not just the last 14 years, but we've put so much pressure on ourselves to have the big car, the big house, the big this, the fat bank account. This man has more happiness. He has more vision. He has more integrity than anybody who has the biggest bank account and the biggest house and the biggest whatever. He honestly does. He lives his life with truth, regardless of his material circumstances, because he recognizes that material circumstances don't make the man. Okay? And when he offers advice and guidance, when he tells you something, you can almost absolutely be guaranteed that he speaks truth with integrity, with vision, and that what he's saying, it's simple, it's truthful, it's honest, it's valid and appropriate. When we take and listen to all of these people, oh, he drives a good car, he lives in a fancy house, he wears that brand of clothing, therefore he must be clever, therefore we must listen to what he says. This is where the shift, Neptune and Aries, is going to come, where we're suddenly going to look at people not by their status, not by their bank account, not by how big their what's the word I'm looking for? Campaigners. Okay. The campaign doesn't matter. The integrity of the person saying the things is what matters the most. And again, Neptune and Aries is going to make us look at this kind of an individual with more awe, with more wonder, with more truth than the person with the massive campaign. And to me, I like that. That excites me. It really and truly does. But we have to get over the disappointment. We have to learn to break the rules. We have to change the expectations in order for this to materialize and to come through. Right. Question 5. So we're down here now. How is the collective spirituality evolving? And how can we embrace these changes? So we're not talking religion. Spirituality and religion are different. And this is something that we've all determined and uncovered and understood over the last 14 years of Neptune and Pisces. So how is the collective evolving spiritually, and how can we embrace these changes going forward? Let's have a look and see. We have the King of Swords. I love this. So swords is the suit of the mind, okay? It's the suit of the intellect. It's the suit of thinking. It's the suit of clarity of thought. And that's what spirituality gives us. Spirituality gives us clear thinking, freedom to think, freedom to explore your own unique ideas and concepts without rules from somebody else saying, oh, you can't do it that way, you mustn't do it that way, you have to do it this way. So the King of Swords is almost like we now have permission. So how is the collective spiritually evolving, and how can we embrace this? By removing expectation. Again, let's go back to her. She is sad, she is disappointed, she is hurtful, she is experiencing terrible things. Why? Because expectation was not real. So now suddenly, I mean, if you look at this King of Swords, so this guy's sitting on a bench out in the absolute middle of nowhere. There is no shade, right? He doesn't even have a tree. He doesn't have a suitcase. He doesn't, I'm saying he, it could be a woman, I don't know, right? This person, okay, sorry, let me say that. This person is sitting out there. Why are they sitting out there? Because they want to. Who are we to question? Who are we to say what is right or wrong? Previously, we would have said, oh no, you can only sit there if you're waiting for the bus, or you can only sit there if. Now we're saying, you want to sit there, because this is how we are evolving. And we need to start recognizing the individuality of each person. Again, Neptune and Aries. So collectively, we are evolving to become more accepting of the differences within each person. We need to start thinking for ourselves and not going into this collective kind of thing of, oh, you're on a swing, you need to sit down, and the swing needs to be on solid ground, and you need to sit down, and you need to be careful going backwards and forwards, and you certainly mustn't be standing on water and kissing. Okay. We need to start recognizing it's not about being foolish, and it's not about being ridiculous and reckless, but what it is about recognizing that each person is responsible for their own, and as long as that person is happy, and as long as that person isn't causing any harm to anybody else, how does it matter? It doesn't. So how is the collective spirituality evolving, and how can we embrace? By recognizing that each person is on their own journey and giving everybody permission to be on their own journey in whatever way they choose, in whatever way feels right for them. No judgment, no criticism, no sticking everybody in a box, which we have been doing up until now. So I love that, actually. I really, really do. Okay. We're going on to question number 6. So question number 6, what impulsive actions should we watch for or avoid during the next 14 years? Because again, impulsive action is Aries. So what impulsive action should we all be mindful of? Should we all watch out for? Or what should we avoid during the next 14 years of Neptune in Aries? So this is something that we all need to be mindful of, careful of, to watch out for. And we have the Page of Swords. Now, we had the King of Swords, and I said to you with the King of Swords that he looked quite comfy, sitting there, minding his own business, not hurting anybody. But now I get a very different energy from this Page of Swords. Can you see the arrogance with this guy? Okay, he seems to be a little bit arrogant. He seems to be a little bit like, I don't care. I don't care. All right. He seems to be like, well, I'm just going to do what I want to do. And who are you to tell me otherwise? He seems to have that kind of arrogance. And this, because Neptune and Aries is going to make us all feel bolder, all feel braver, all feel more courageous to stand in our truth, to do our own thing, to overcome the disappointment. But there's a very fine line between integrity and arrogance. And that is the thing that as a collective, we need to make sure that we watch out for or avoid during the next 14 years. Because if we take this stance, if we take this attitude, it's not going to bode well for the collective. And the collective is going to suffer in only the way that Aries can make the collective suffer. So in order for us to navigate this energy, we need to make sure that we are always bringing ourselves back to this kind of mindfulness as opposed to this kind of arrogance. Very interesting. Okay, let's look at question 7. So question 7 is, what are the healing opportunities that will arise for us, and how can we embrace them with courage? Because again, Neptune is about collective healing. It is about collective consciousness. So as we go through this, what are the healing opportunities that are going to arise for us? Again, not on an individual level, but on a collective level. And how can we embrace this healing energy with courage? And the healing is the Hermit card. So if we look at this card, right, it's not very clear. It took me a while the first time I saw it to actually see it. So this is somebody lying in a bathtub. So we've got the curtains on the bathtub. The curtains are open. This is their leg and their foot, and then they've got their hand, and obviously they're having a cigarette. So they're just checking out for a couple of minutes. They've climbed in a bath. They've probably got some bubbles going there, and they're just lying there. They're not even thinking. They're just breathing. They're just taking a minute to do nothing. Now, again, I'm going to say to you, over the last couple of years, all of us have developed this mindset of you need to always be doing something, because if you're not always doing something, you're lazy, and therefore you're a failure, therefore you're doing bad. We need to shift this to understand that taking time out for ourselves regularly is so important. Like, I'm going to ask you right now, when was the last time you did this? When was the last time you climbed in a bath and just lay there for half an hour, 20 minutes even, and just did nothing but just unwound and relaxed? Now, I am going to say to you that this kind of activity is the kind of mindfulness, spirituality, development that needs to take place. We need to stop going out and doing a 10K run every day, and every now and again actually spend some time on your own by yourself doing nothing. This is the healing that's going to take place. Why? Because when you're doing this, when you're lying in that tub doing nothing, your physical body gets a chance to relax. Your physical body gets a chance to undo all the knots that we've gathered through stress and whatever else. But it's the mind, it's the spirit that heals, because suddenly we think about things, we ponder things, we understand things, we contemplate things. So to me, this is like the best form of meditation ever. But we don't have time. I hear this all the time in clients when I'm in, consulting with clients. Oh, I don't have time. Like, I often say to clients, what do you do when you're not working? What do you do to relax and unwind? Oh, I go to the gym, or I run, or I cycle, or I swim. There's always this physical activity. And I say, no, 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 what do you do for fun? No, I enjoy all of that. So the gym and the cycling and the running, I enjoy that. I get that. But sometimes we need to switch off. So what healing opportunities will come up, and how can we embrace them? By slowing down and recognizing that less is more. Does it mean that we stop all the physical activity? Of course not. Of course not, because we have to take care of ourselves. But Make time, schedule, like you schedule an, oh, I can't do that because I'm going to be at the gym, or I can't do that because I'm running, or whatever. We need to schedule downtime as well, because it is equally, if not more important. And this is something that we are not doing. So the healing opportunities that are going to come, it's not about, even though Aries is action and fire and passion and enthusiasm, it's action, fire, passion, and enthusiasm for the self, which is going to make us slow down and do less. And that excites me. That excites me. Right. We're nearly done. Card number 8. The question we're asking is, how can we balance individualism with the need for collective harmony? Because there's definitely a need for collective harmony. We all want it. We're all seeking it. We're all looking for it. But at the same time, we all want to be independent. We want to, and especially now with Neptune and Aries. So how can we balance individualism with the need for collective harmony? And the card we have is the Six of Pentacles. I mean, hello, how was that ice cream? Just look at that ice cream. So Six of Pentacles, what is she doing there? So she has the ice cream. She owns the ice cream. The ice cream is her ice cream, but it looks like she's handing it to somebody else. What is she doing? She's sharing. She's saying, I have this huge big ice cream. It's too much for me. Let me share some with you. This is the card of charity. This is the card of sharing is caring. This is the card of Barney. Sharing is caring. Giving my age away when I say that. Most of you going, who's Barney? What's Barney? Don't go there. Don't go there. Right. So let's go back. Six of Pentacles. How can we balance individualism with the need for collective harmony? It's about recognizing how much we need versus how much we have, and sharing appropriately with appropriate people. To me, that's exactly what this is saying. How can we balance our individualism with the need? Again, in the past, prior to, leading up to this point, we were all about gathering for ourselves, because the more you had, the stronger you were, the more powerful you were, the better you were. That energy is shifting. And we are now going into a place where we need enough for our own needs, wants, and desires, and anything extra that we have, we can actually share with somebody else. Let's make somebody else's day by offering them an ice cream. Let's make somebody else's day by giving to them and not just holding on all the time to ourselves. So how can we balance individualism with the need for collective harmony? By sharing. By sharing that which we have in excess, whether it be your time, whether it be skills, whether it be whatever. Let's not label it right now. So how do we balance our own individualism with the need for collective harmony? By recognizing that sharing is important. And friends, our final question. We have one card left, one question left. Our final question is, what is the best guidance for all of us right here and right now to navigate Neptune and Aries with wisdom and grace? So one final message of inspiration and guidance on how to best handle Neptune in Aries. And let's have a look and see the message that we get. The best guidance to navigate Neptune in Aries. We have the Two of Wands. So Two of Wands is interesting energy. So here we have a lady. She's standing at a gate, at a fence post. She has a suitcase locked and loaded. She is ready to go. She's waiting for her Uber to arrive. Okay, so she's standing at the gate, standing at the fence, and she's waiting for her Uber to arrive. She's waiting for something to come and take her to the next. She's trying to decide though, because up until that Uber arrives, up until her chariot arrives, up until that moment, she can still change her mind. Okay, so she's there and she's like questioning. That's why she's standing this side of the fence post and not that side of the fence post, because she is slightly undecided. She's still questioning, like, is this actually what I want to do? Do I actually want to go? Should I go? Shouldn't I go? What should I do? So Two of Wands. What is the best guidance for all of us to navigate Neptune and Aries with wisdom and with grace? It's about being conscious of the choices and the decisions that you make, and making sure that they are your choices and decisions and not somebody else's. Again, I go back to this first lady here who suffered so much disappointment, who suffered so much, like, nothing actually worked out in life. She was feeling so disappointed because the evening went according to everybody else's plans and not according to hers. Her ideals were not met. So the final piece of advice that Spirit have for us right now is the best way to navigate this is to be conscious in the decisions that you make. conscious in your actions, your choices, and your what you do. Because how much of your life at the moment is based on somebody else's needs, wants, and desires, making somebody else happy? How much of your life currently is what you're told to do, and you're not allowed to question it? You must just accept it and go with it without actually saying, but what about this? Or, I don't like this. No, you're not allowed to have an opinion. Up until now, you were not allowed to have an opinion. Up until now, you do what you were told. You don't question. But going forward, we need to, it's not about being arrogant and defying and challenging everything and challenging everyone. But what it is about saying, am I making choices that actually are in line with who I am, with what I want? Because if we as a collective do that, if we as a collective, each individually, make better choices, the world becomes a better place. But at the moment, we're all just keeping our mouth quiet and doing what we're told to do, doing what is expected of us. And when we're disappointed, we keep quiet about it. She sheds her tears and releases the emotion in the stillness of her bedroom late at night. Tomorrow, she puts a smile on her face and tells everybody it was a wonderful evening and she had so much fun and it was so amazing and I can't wait for the next one. Meantime, she's thinking the complete opposite. But she hasn't had the courage and the confidence to break the rules and to step out of that. So for you and I, going forward, Neptune and Aries, we have to become more independent as to what we want, what we need, what is real for us, and how we're going to navigate it without the fear of what other people are going to say or do. So we each have to find our voices, step up, stand up, speak up without the arrogance, without the aggression, without all the rest of it. And if we can do that collectively, I do believe that this world is going to be a much better place. We've got 14 years to get it right, and it starts now. It starts right here, right now. We have 14 years to get it right. So let's start. Really take the information that I've given you in this video, in this reading, in this message today, and instead of trying to push it down everybody else's throat, you absorb it, you live it, you take it on. And if everybody does that, then it's just fantastic. Then it is just fantastic. And that is Neptune and Aries. We are all going to become more aware of ourselves individually, but by doing so, we're going to become more conscious of what is happening on a collective. Instead of what we've been doing in the past was trying to force the collective in a way. Now it's like everybody's going to stand on their own. But if everybody stands on their own in the same way, with the same level of integrity, with the same level of truth, we can't go wrong. We can't go wrong. So friends, I do hope that this little introduction to Neptune and Aries piques an interest, helps you to just get excited about what lays ahead. Big changes are coming, especially when you look at what Neptune and Pisces brought for us. So when we think about Neptune and Aries, I mean, I really do hope that you get excited about it, that it gives you something to look forward to, but understand that you do have a role to play in this playing out. So start now being more conscious about the decisions that you make, the choices that you make, and the way that you live your life. As long as you're living your life with integrity and you're not trying to gather power and status, that you're just trying to be a good person, I don't think we can go wrong. So thank you for being with me. Thank you for your love and support. And I look forward to connecting with you all again very, very soon. Take care.